Is there like any specific place where you can find a good Filipina?
Because I am not engaging in transactional relationships.
Are you dating right now?
Yes.
And do you agree that Filipinas are conservative?
No, that's a myth.
Speaking of these modern and traditional Filipina, which do you prefer? Have you ever like experienced dating a Filipina that tried to scam you?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And even the money that I invested buying lot and house and paying for her university education and all the money I gave to her family, her parents, her kids, her sisters and brothers, and whoever's watching this video, I'm not the first person to be saying this, and I won't be the last. If you want to catch a fish, you got to go fishing.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. It's me, Roger, and welcome to Roger&Ismi vlog. So today's video, we have a special guest, and if you already seen his video about living in the Philippines, now I'm very excited to know and interested about his dating experience. But before we start, again, salamat sa inyong pagigugma o pagsuporta sa among channel. Thank you so much for the love and support, guys. And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe. And hit the bell icon for new uploads or new videos. Okay, so we have a special guest for today. Can you introduce your name?
Sure, my name is Abdullah.
Abdullah, and where are you from?
I am from Toronto, Canada.
Okay, how old are you, sir?
I just turned 50 a few months ago.
Oh, belated happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
So now I'm very excited and interested to know about your story about dating here in the Philippines. Are you excited?
Excited about what? Yes, of course I'm excited. I'm excited to share my story. If we can help somebody, then I'm excited to do that.
That's good, that's good.
Yeah.
So now, first question, what do you think about dating a Filipina?
What do I think about dating in the Philippines? I'm glad that I'm dating here. I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm glad I'm experiencing that. It's been something I've wanted to do, and now I'm doing it. So I guess I'm living my dream.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I like that, living your dream. So what are the traits that you like?
The traits that I like. How much time do we have?
A lot of time. Plenty
a lot of time? Oh my goodness. Well, I think the first thing I would say is approachability, right? You could see a lady on the street, at the mall, at the pharmacy, at the grocery store, wherever you meet someone, you can say hello, and just be friendly. You can say hello to a woman here without having to worry that you're offending them by saying hello. So I think that is the one thing that I appreciate the most, is that women here are approachable, even if it's just, hi, how are you today? And you don't have anything else to say other than, hi, how are you today? You're not made to feel as though you are somehow a creep by saying hello.
Mm-hmm, yes.
Yeah.
Well, is there any specific place where you can find Filipina?
Yeah, of course. You can find, when you say find people, do you mean specifically for dating? If we're talking about, well, online. I mean, if we're talking about dating, well then of course online dating is the easiest place to find someone. And I say that because if you meet a woman at the grocery store, she might not be available for dating. Right. But if you meet her on a dating app, well, that's why 100%. We're all there, right? So I would say that's the shortcut. If you want to take a shortcut, pick a dating app or pick 5 dating apps and start fishing.
Okay, so which do you prefer, dating app or like meeting the girl in person?
I originally thought it depends on where you are in the process. So it depends.
Okay.
Okay, if you are living overseas, then you can't approach a girl at the grocery store because you're not here yet. So you have no choice but to go online, and you can start having a conversation with someone before you get here. But if you are already here, you can still use a dating app. But now that I've been living here for 9 months, I am no longer feeling as though the dating app is the way to go, because the kinds of people you meet on a dating app are not the same as the people you meet in everyday life.
True. Agree.
Yes.
Okay, this is the question and really important. Is there like any specific place where you can find a good Filipino?
They're everywhere. I know that's not a specific enough answer if you're a viewer, but I say that because everywhere you go, everywhere I've been in the Philippines, and I've been to Cebu, I've been to Mindanao and Negros Occidental, I've been to 3 different islands, I've been to 3 major cities, Cebu, Davao, and Bacolod. I've been small towns, medium towns, I've been to the province, I've been to the city. I have never been somewhere where someone is not approachable. You can talk to anybody and just say hello and start up a conversation. You could be on a bus, you could be at the grocery store, you could be walking down the street, you could be anywhere, and you can just say hello to someone and strike up a conversation. So there's no specific place because women here are approachable. And I'm coming from North America, Canada specifically, where you can't do that. You can't say hello to a woman at the lineup at the grocery store without being made to feel like you're a creep, right? So in Canada, it's one of the reasons I'm here, because I'm looking to find a wife, because I can't even do that in Canada. You can't have a conversation with someone and just say hello without being made to feel, like you're offending them. So here, you don't need to go anywhere specifically.
Okay.
Just be willing to say hello. Now, if you're shy, because I'm not shy, but if you're someone who's shy, who's not so comfortable to just approach someone that you think is attractive, well, then now you're back to the dating apps.
Okay,
right?
makes sense.
Yeah.
And what makes the Filipinas stand out by other Asian countries? Yeah, you've been to Thailand, other Asian countries.
I've been to Thailand, I've been to China, Japan, South Korea. Those are the other Asian countries I've been to. And I would say the first thing that stands out is the ability to communicate in English. Okay. That's the first thing, because if you are in pursuit of a romantic interest, okay, you need to communicate.
Yes,
right?
True.
Because I am not engaging in transactional relationships.
Exactly.
Right? Where speaking isn't required. Right? I'm not engaging in those types of relationships, so I'm only interested in the ones where there's conversations, occurring that are not bedroom related. Right?
Yeah.
So for this reason, why I like here in Philippines is because I'm an English speaker. And if I go to Thailand, say, or China, or Japan, where English is not commonly spoken, it makes having those kinds of more intimate conversations difficult, which is why I'm here and not in those countries.
And as you mentioned earlier, this is one of the reason, or is it your main reason that why you came to the Philippines, to find a wife?
Yeah, that's the main reason. That's the main reason I'm here. Now, I am 50 years old. I am thinking about my retirement. So it's not the only reason, right? I'm here because it's a place I would like to retire. And there are reasons that are not related to my pursuit of a wife, like cost of living, able to run my business, able to earn income. There's things that I can do, in the Philippines. But when you pull all that together now, being able to retire, to be able to run my business in Canada from here, and I can also find a wife, well then there it is, right? You can get it all in the Philippines, right? That's why it's better in the Philippines, right?
Yes, better. And it's more fun in the Philippines, as
well,
they say.
Hey, it is. I mean, but that's just my own personal taste, because I've been other places where I had a lot of fun too, right? And I will likely go to those places because it's not so far to fly to Thailand, say, or China, because I'm here. It's not, 24 hours in the air flying, right? It's just a few hours to go there, right? So yeah, it's not that I don't like those other places, but if we're talking about finding a wife, here's the only place I would be doing that in Asia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you dating right now?
Yes.
Yes. Wow. But do you have any past Filipino relationship also?
Yes, I have.
Wow. That's interesting. Can you share what happened?
Which relationship?
The past relationship.
Which one? Shall we start from the beginning?
Yeah.
All right. So before I came here, when I made my decision that I was going to come here and stay an extended period of time and all of that, retiring here and everything, when I made my decision that I was going to be here and not the Caribbean, because my family's from the Caribbean, and I've been to a bunch of islands in the Caribbean. When I decided it wasn't going to be there, when I went to Thailand and China and I decided it wasn't going to be there in these other Asian countries, then I went on a dating app, and I paid for the premium package of services.
Wow.
Whereby if you are in Toronto, Canada, which is where I'm from, you can have access to the dating privileges, whereby you can see if someone likes you before you like them.
Wow.
Right? So, why am I even bringing that up? Because I prefer to talk to someone that I know that already is interested in me, as opposed to chasing a deer in the forest that you're never going to catch.
Makes sense.
Right? I'd rather have the one that's coming right up to my front door, eating from my front doorstep, than I open my door. Hello there. How are
come
you?
inside.
Hello, lunch. Right? So if you pay for the premium package of service on most of these dating apps, you can see who likes you. So I would say, so I did that, and then I had my photos, my bio, whatever it is I'm looking for. I did all of that stuff, and then that's it. I just put my bait in the water, right? And I wait for the fish to show up and start biting.
Yeah. To eat.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened to your past relationship to a Filipina?
Okay, so before I came to Philippines and used the dating app, that story actually began in Thailand. Because I never use dating apps. I'm a social person who's not shy to talk to people, so I'm okay with going back to, I was saying about the grocery store. I don't mind talking to a lady at the grocery store, just saying hi, right? So I'm able to do that. But when I was in Thailand a few years back, before I came to the Philippines, I just showed up and I just started talking to people. And I had fun and I met people and that was great. I had an amazing time. But there was one day I was at the hotel where I was staying and I befriended a gentleman from Las Vegas, USA. And every morning I'd have my breakfast at the breakfast cafe and I would see this guy. And every day I would see some beautiful Thai girl come into the breakfast cafe, sit with him. They would have their coffee or whatever, and then he would leave. And I saw this for maybe 4 or 5 days in a row, but each time it was a different girl. So finally, one day I had to ask this guy, I said, hey bro, good morning, how are you? I introduced myself, and I'm like, do you mind if I ask you a question? He's like, yeah, sure. He was a friendly guy. I'm like, why are you having a different girl every day? And where are you finding these girls, right? And I'm like, because I'm looking to meet someone, and like, here's this guy, he's like having a different, he's like, oh, I'm using a dating app. I'm like, well, what dating app? Then he told me, he gave me the name of the dating app. I'm like, oh, okay, I've heard about that dating app. And he's like, well, you need to try it. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I downloaded the app, and then that's when I first learned about using dating apps, swiping left, swiping right, and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But by the time I had learned about that, I was already leaving Thailand, so I never really had a chance to actually do that. Because what he told me was that he was using the dating app before he left the United States.
Yeah,
so he had like 15 dates lined up before he even left America, right?
That's a lot.
Yeah, he had, I don't know how many dates, because every time he had some different girl. So he lined it all up, right? All of his interviews, he called them interviews. He said, yes, I've had all my interviews. I had them all like lined up like an interview. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, note to self, next time I'm going anywhere, it's like, I gotta like.
You already have an idea.
Yeah, so then when I came here, I did that. So I signed up the membership, put up my bio, and I did that about 3 months. It was 3 or 4 months before I left Canada, because I wanted to give myself sufficient time to get to know a person. I didn't do it a week before I left. I did that several months before I left because I wanted to see, is that person still going to be around talking to me 3 months before arriving? And that filtered out. I was able to filter out a lot of people who were only after money transfers. Because there's a lot of that.
They're interested or not, so they
genuine
will stay.
interest, right? So then I was able to figure out who really had a genuine interest in building a relationship. So this is how I ended up meeting the first girl I dated in Cebu. And then we talked for months, and then after, I think it was, we started talking in July, so August, September, October, November. Yeah, it was 4 months. So we chatted for 4 months before I actually arrived here. and that was in 2019. So that was my first dating experience, was the girl from Cebu.
Wow. How many girlfriends do you have, like, in the past? Filipina?
I refuse to answer that question.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All
No,
right.
I'm kidding. In the past, none. So that the girl from Cebu was the first Filipina I dated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, first.
Was the question how many Filipinas or how many girls?
How many, like, Filipina girlfriends you have? Like,
all right. I thought you were
exes.
asking me how many girls.
No.
Like, can't answer that. No, it's the girl from Cebu was the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the one
Filipina.
that you're dating right now is the second one?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Getting to know stage.
No, you went from like 2019 to 2023. There's been 4 years in between, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you agree that Filipinas are conservative?
No, that's a myth.
Why is it so?
Learned experience, lived experience. Outwardly, yes. After there is some bonding going on, and there is not just privacy, but once there is a level of trust, then absolutely not conservative.
Okay.
It's a myth. Now, when you say conservative, what do you mean by conservative?
Like, there's like traditional Filipina, right? Traditional Filipina and the modern Filipina. So I can say traditional Filipina are more conservative. They're into like old Filipino culture or ways. So these type of Filipinas are into not modern things.
Let me answer the question this way. If you're meaning a Filipina online, it's not what you just described. Because the Filipinas that are going online, they're using modern technology. So just that alone, right? Just that alone, that's not traditional. It's not traditional for someone to go onto a dating app to meet someone from around the world. That's not traditional.
Yeah, I agree.
That's modern.
Modern.
Right? But if you meet someone here at the grocery store or at the market and you're not using a dating app, well, then you might have a completely different experience. Right? So it really depends on where you're meeting this Filipina.
No.
Right? But most of the foreigners are using dating apps because if you are not here, that's the only way to meet them. And then after you get here, it's like, I'm leaving the country in like 3 weeks. Or I'm only going to be here a couple of months. I don't have time to be standing at the grocery store lineup going, like, how many shopping trips am I going to have to do? Right? How many, do you see what I mean? So then you're meeting these what you describe as modern.
Yeah.
So you're fishing, you're only catching a certain kind of fish. You're only going to be able to catch yellowfin tunas. Right? But if you want moro or you want, malasugi, you got to go look elsewhere for those kind of fish.
Okay, speaking of these modern and traditional Filipino, which do you prefer?
The ones who are what they say they are.
Oh, okay.
So it's not about being modern or conservative. It's about being the person that you say you are.
Okay,
so if
like
I meet you online or if I meet you at the grocery store, be who you said you were. A week later, a month later, 2 months later, right? Now, that said, going back to the analogy about the fish, what kind of fish are swimming on the dating apps?
Too many fishes, but
they're the ones that are the Filipinos who are using the dating apps. You have more fish there that are just looking for money.
yes, true.
But if you're talking to someone at the grocery store, they're not even thinking about dating. Or right? They're just looking at you and like, oh, you're a foreigner, okay. And then they didn't come to the grocery store hoping to meet a foreigner.
Yeah, that's
But
one
if
thing.
they're on a dating app, that's right. So it's a different kind of fish.
Yeah, you can see the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Have you ever experienced dating a Filipina that tried to scam you?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So you didn't ask me that question on the first, the girl in Cebu?
It's very important, and that's why
Yes.
I put that question
Yes.
in the last.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have experienced that.
May I know? If that would be fine.
Which one?
The scam part.
Which girl?
Oh, wow, that's
we'll start
maybe a
with-
lot of girl.
Yeah. So the first one, it turned out to be exactly that. And so how I was scammed was after I arrived, and then I started spending time with her. It didn't take more than a week or two for me to realize that all of the emojis she was sending me in Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp, all of these conversations that we were having, that once I was actually here, they were empty words. Because once I was here now, her actions and the experience we had didn't jive. Now, in that example, we had spent 3 months chatting before I got here. We spent a month together here. I left and came back, right? But when I came back to stay. The first time I was only here for a month, and she knew I was leaving, right? So in retrospect, in hindsight, I know that she was just putting on her act because she knew I was leaving. But when I came back the second time and she knew I wasn't leaving, now it's like, okay, now now she's, from her point of view, it's like, okay, now this is not leaving. The game's up, the show's over for her now. Because she was never intending on marrying me. She was never intending on having a family with me. She never intended that. And I didn't know that until I came back the second time when I came to stay. Because everything changed. It was like, it just changed. And for a while there, I'm like, who is this person, right? And so that was my first dating experience here. And so since that time till now, everything's changed for me, right? And I'm glad for that experience because I didn't invest that many months of my life. Mm-hmm. And even the money that I invested buying lot and house and paying for her university education and all the money I gave to her family, her parents, her kids, her sisters and brothers, taking care of her, supporting her through the pandemic, right? I don't regret any of that because I know what my intentions were, and I'm a man of faith. So for me, I am grateful for that experience because of her children and her parents. Wow. Because I met her children and her parents, and they were not dating me. They're just two old people, the parents, and these two innocent children who don't know anything. They just looked at me as this other father, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the part that disappointed me the most in the whole experience was the children, because they're innocent in all of this. And so I am disappointed in the girl for doing that, because now this is what she's teaching her children.
So they did that for living, right? Yeah,
so it's a scam. So, it is what it is, and I'm not the first person, whoever's watching this video, I'm not the first person to be saying this, and I won't be the last, right? But I'm just saying to you that was my experience, and then after I got here, then I just, cried my tears, and wiped those tears away, and then that was it. I just moved on.
Move on, yeah. So but you invested a lot, right?
Yes.
So that's one thing that you made disappoint. What about the second one? What experience?
The rebound?
The rebound? Okay.
Oh, the rebound was awesome. Yeah, the rebound was great.
Why?
Because a rebound was great because it gave me an opportunity to revisit what it was that I really wanted. It gave me a chance to rethink. Do I really want to be here looking for a wife? Okay. Is this the place where I'm actually going to look for a wife? Is this the place that I thought it was in my fantasy and what everybody told me? It made me rethink that. And so I decided not to give up. And so I went back to the original scene of the crime, which was the dating apps, right? Because that was the path of the least resistance for me to meet somebody else. So when I went back there the second time and I was on my rebound, I ended up, I dated and I met, several people and, we enjoyed each other's company and so forth, right? But it made me realize that experience made me realize the dating apps is likely not going to be the place I'm going to find this girl I came here to find. I would be surprised if that ends up being the case.
So I think dating app is just the first stage to meet someone.
The dating app, I would recommend the dating app if you have not left your country of origin and you're planning on coming here, that it will give you an introduction. It'll give you an opportunity to engage in some conversations, overcoming language barriers, experience some cultural nuances. You got to get your feet wet. You're not just going to jump right in, right? You got to put your toe in there and put your finger in there and
you have to test, make a test.
Test the water, right? And see, right? This sort of thing. Yeah, so I would do all of that. If I had it to do over again, I would have done that. So I would say that. But it also depends on how long you're going to be here. Because for me, I'm here to stay. But if you're coming here just for a few weeks, well then you can just stick with the dating apps, because the girls that you're looking for, that's the fish that you're looking for. Right? You're looking for, that's the kind of fish. You're looking for malasugi, well that's what you're going to, malasugi is a Filipina fish, right? They eat kinilaw is from malasugi, right? So that's a certain kind of fish. So if you are wanting that kind of fish, then just stick with the dating apps. But if you're trying to marry someone, don't depend on the dating apps.
Okay.
There it is.
Speaking of your rebound, is it the same cases or scenario that the scam still the same?
It was more of the same. And going back to your original question about Philippines being conservative, they're absolutely not conservative, right? It is the same as Thailand, but it's well veiled. It's well concealed, right? There is this faux shyness. Oh, we're conservative. No, you're not. No, you're not. You don't want to be portrayed or depicted as a street girl, like in those countries. No, we're not like those girls. Yeah, you are, right? It is just getting back to. I keep using fish as an analogy, right?
Well,
you're still a fish.
That'll be a good example.
Right? You're still a fish.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You're still a fish. You can flip around all you want. Right? I think you have different kinds of salmon, right? Like salmon. Anybody out there like salmon? So you have tuna. I love tuna. We're in Philippines, right? So you have all these kind of tuna. But in the end, you're still a tuna.
Exactly.
Right?
Okay.
Looking for money. Right.
Yeah, agree.
Yes.
Now, since you have a Filipina past relationship, for sure you experienced this. How did you adjust to sulking or tampo, if you heard about tampo?
Sulking?
Yeah, cold shoulders.
I have been fortunate enough to have dated people in other countries, and that appears to me to be a female trait, not a Filipina thing.
Okay. But have you heard about tampo?
Sulking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that in Jamaica. I heard about that in Antigua, in Canada. I heard about that in China. I heard about that in other countries. It's not a Filipina thing. It's a female
have you
thing.
ever experienced a Filipina?
I experienced it before I got here. I experienced it here. So since I've got here, it's like, yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that movie before, right? I didn't know how it ends, right? So I already know. I've already seen that movie before. So it's not anything new to me. Right, but I've traveled countries and I've dated people from different places. That's how I know this, right? But if you've only dated a Filipina or you haven't dated people from different countries as much, I don't know what this says about me. My God. Is this going online? Is this like the world going to see this? It's like, yeah, that's not a Filipina thing, right? A woman, okay, who is upset with you for whatever reason and is giving you the silent treatment.
Yeah. What about jealousy?
What about it?
Yeah. Have you ever experienced? Like your Filipina get jealous because you stare at someone, or?
That's not a Filipina thing. For people to suggest that it's just not true. Right? The only person who would say that is the person who hasn't had the opportunity to date people from different countries. Because that's no different. You could be in, China with a girl. I've dated a Chinese girl before, and the level of scrutiny that I had to go through on every text message coming into my phone, it's like it was next level. This girl should be like an FBI or a CIA. Like, really? So that's not a Filipino thing.
Okay. So this is the last question. What is your best, or we can say best experience dating Colombia?
My best experience dating, the next one.
The next one.
Right? Because the next one could be the last one, and that is why I'm here. And I haven't found her yet. So the best one will be the next one. Because if it's the last one, then that's it.
I see.
then we can do another video.
So, do you have any advice to?
My father always told me that if you want to catch a fish, you got to go fishing. You can't sit in your bedroom and catch a fish. So if you want to find somebody, and it doesn't matter what country of the world it is, right? It's not about what country of the world, but you got to put yourself out there, right? And you got to get wet. You might get bit by a shark while you're out there. You probably are. You're going to get jellyfish. You're going to get, you know, when you're out there in the open, when you're in the what do you call it? When you're out there on the ocean, right? You're bound to get a coral or something, urchin, jellyfish. Something's going to happen while you're out there. No one comes out of this unscathed, right? We all going to get, you know, whatever's going to happen to us, but it's how you deal with the adversity that you face, and not the adversity of itself. And just keep going, just keep swimming. Right?
In short, so come here and visit the Philippines to catch the fish. That's it. I think that would be all for today's video, and again, very interesting experience or dating experience in the Philippines. So we hope that you can learn from Abdullah, and coming from him, he has like a lot of experience in terms of dating Filipina. So like what we mentioned earlier, come and visit to catch the fish. That's the end. All right, thank you so much. See you next time. Bye. No hate, just love, everyone.